Gonna build a home, then you're never more alone. Live our lives together, call it home sweet home. I told you last night, gonna have no fight. Cause I'm one you love me like you know I'm loving you. You say you're gonna love me and always be true. So prove to me, my darling, as we travel to fight to so we can love just a little, love just a little. We're alone, loving like we do. Loving like we love.
Well, there's lots of information, as many people know, when you start going out into the world of prepping. There's plenty of information now for people to grasp. But back when I was starting to understand that there would be a day that the Bible talked about that you would pay a day's wage for a loaf of bread. And I said, man, that's a lot for a loaf of bread, Lord. I might need to learn how to make my own bread. So I started looking into what information was out there, and I came across a book called The Doom and Bloom Survival Medicine Handbook. And it's called Keep Your Loved Ones Healthy in Every Disaster and From Wildfires to a Complete Societal Collapse. And this is Joseph Alton, M.D., and Amy Alton, A.R.N.P. So she is a registered nurse practitioner, and he is a M.D., and they are Christians that have put together a book for people that want to know what do we do. And it covers quite a bit of information, a wide swath of information. A lot of it is health information, and those are some of the things I'd like to focus on today, talking to the bride about what can we do if we find ourselves in a situation to where we're not able to get the things we need just because they're not available because of a war situation or we're in a war situation and trade is not available because they no longer are able to bring it in, or because we're not able to buy, sell, or trade because we didn't take a mark. I don't know what all it might be, but I think we should start looking at doing some of the very minimum if we haven't already.
Gotcha. Now, what about people, what would you say with you being a naturopath? This is one of the biggest battles that Christians have today, is if they have conditions. Like if they have diabetes or some type of something where they are medicine reliant,
If you are relying upon medication.
Right.
Well, there are a few things that we know for sure, like if you don't have a thyroid gland and you're taking Synthroid, you're going to need something to be able to take. Now, I truly believe that God will do miracles for people. I'm not discounting that at all. I know we serve a big God, and he's going to do what he's going to do for the people he's going to do it for. And so, first of all, we always pray and trust the Lord and follow the leading of the Holy Spirit. But if we know that we don't have a thyroid, or we have a bad thyroid that's sluggish and we need help, we can look at things like Armor Thyroid. It's a desiccated thyroid from a pig that is online, and you can buy and stock some of that back and keep it in a cool, dry place where there's not, like, you don't want to put it on the cabinet where there's sunlight coming in and it's getting hot. If you've got like a basement with some storage down there that's cool, that's probably the best place to stock your medical supplies and storage like that. If you are talking about diabetes, if you think that you are going to not be able to get your medication, you need to talk to your doctor about what you can do. There's other things that you can stock. Vanadium and chromium and vanadium are excellent. The two minerals, you can stock that back to use, and that some people can use just that in replace of diabetes medication. It just depends on each person. But we're talking about survival only now. If you're going to decide that you want to try this type of stuff, you need to find somebody to go to and, help you walk through it so that you're not doing something wrong when you're trying to, see if this stuff is going to be the only thing that you would need to handle your high elevated sugar. Now, there's other things that you can use. Cinnamon is great for that as well. So some people stock back cinnamon to help take. If you've got upper respiratory type of issues, you can stock back, plenty of your antihistamine type medications that you've got out there. Histamine is a big issue in a lot of people. If you have issues like, let's say, that you are struggling with your low immune system, you need to stock back plenty of good minerals for your body. You need to stock back plenty of good vitamins. Now, if you can get like the kind that are in a powder that you can put in and vacuum seal it up really tight, that will last forever, a long time, quite a few years. But even if you've had it for a little bit, it might not be as potent, but it's going to be, you might need to take 4 instead of 2 if it's out of date. You'll just have to test some of these things out. Let's say that you are, sometimes you used to be able to buy, in the book they talk about, in this survival handbook, Doom and Bloom, they talk about fish biotics that you can buy as in place of antibiotics. If you feel like you need to have, like if you struggle with some cellulitis issues and you get cellulitis easy because you've got, diabetes or something, and you feel like you might need to have an antibiotic because your body is already used to antibiotics, then you might need to look and see if your doctor would be willing to write you a prescription. Now, natural antibiotics are garlic and echinacea and golden seal and golden root. All of that is great for a urinary tract infection. If you struggle with urinary tract infections, those cranberry tablets and golden seal and uva ursa is another natural remedy that you can buy and have back. And keep all of these things, like I said, in a cool, dry place. Now, lavender and tea tree oil and all of these natural oils are great also for the immune system and for respiratory issues. You can use tea tree kills germs. If you are dealing with congestion, you can get the peppermint, the tea tree, the eucalyptus, thyme, pine oil. All of these are great for the congestion. Now, you have to be careful with some oils. If you have allergies, you need to not buy this stuff and never use it and then test it and it's too late and you got an allergy to it. Try some of this stuff out. Buy some of it and use it and see what works best for you up front before you just start buying this stuff and stocking it back, and it's not even something that, your body, some people have sensitivities. So be aware of that as well. Now, if you don't know what to do about brushing, you got toothpaste and all of that you think, well, that's just hygiene. Not really. It is, but your mouth is another very important thing in the end time. You're going to want to keep your teeth clean. And you can even take a little hydrogen peroxide and baking soda. If you don't have toothpaste, stock that back. Put it on and brush your teeth and rinse it off good, but because you don't want to leave hydrogen peroxide on your teeth to eat away enamel. But it will kill all the germs in your mouth. So utilize that during the end time. Make sure you can stock back hydrogen peroxide. It's pretty cheap. Now you can put it down in your basement and keep a couple of bottles down in there, and that is good for a lot of different things. It kills all kinds of germs. Now, if you're out and you go out and you've got, like, poison ivy, you're going to need, like, if you're allergic to things like that, you're going to need to make sure that you're aware, like if you're living out and trying to homestead, wear clothing that when you're out walking around that's not going to rub up against you, because some of the worst things that you can do is get open wounds in the end time that you can't heal, that can get infected and can get a blood infection. So you want to be very aware of that as well. Calamine lotion is an old standby, but it's better than nothing. If you don't have anything, Benadryl, put that back for situations like that. Baking soda can be helpful, to make a little paste and put it on there if you've got poison ivy. But these are things that people have so many years now. People have been living in cities, most people do, and they don't live out, not everybody, but most people are not out as much. I mean, they might bump up against some of this stuff in their yard if they're gardening, but if you're in the end times trying to survive, you need to know and have some of this stuff on hand, because you will be coming up against some of this stuff like poison sumac, poison ivy, and things like that when you're out in the fields trying to tend to animals and stuff like that. Now, when you're talking about ticks and tick bites, you're getting into things like needing to have stocked some important things if you're going to get your doctor involved would be to get you some antibiotics that are specific to, like, Lyme's. And so doxycycline and things like that you might be able to get and stock back, because, those are things that we're going to require it. Now, also some natural things that I always stock back are oregano P73. That is a natural antibiotic, and it also kills yeast, candida in the gut. It deters parasites. We need to stock back a little bit of stuff like that you can use. Now, grapefruit seed extract with echinacea and artemisia. It is called Nutrabiotic. It is an excellent antibiotic for UTIs and things like that are natural if you don't have access to things that you could use for a urinary tract infection. Now, with ladies and men, mostly ladies, that azo standard, you need to get some of that. Make sure you have the one that helps with your urine, and it makes your urine turn orange, but it will stop the urgency and frequency and burning and all of that when you are, and man, that will incapacitate a lot of people when they get those urinary tract infections. So at least that will numb it down to where you can still drink a lot of water and get it out of your body if you can. There are lots of ways that women have dealt with it over the years, and I have been interested in studying that some as a medical professional. How do people keep clean? What do they do to prevent disease and infection? And so you can stock back as much pads as you can. If you don't want to use, they have these little cups. They're called Diva cups that you can buy, and you can fold it over, and it's something you insert that catches your menstrual flow, and then you throw it in the toilet and rinse it out and put it back in. Now, some people want to do that, others don't. So the only other thing that I think would be good is they've got these panties now that are naturally, they're made like, I guess they're made like a Depends, but they're just regular panties that absorb. And you can buy some of those if you want to be able to have back. Or I say buy a pack of the diapers that are baby diapers and just use them like you would, and, you know, fold them over and then maybe have somebody sew something on the back side that could Velcro to a pair of panties, or even just use them if you had to in the end time, like, you know, fold them over and use them. But there are things that we can do. Now, most people will, you know, women have different needs if you don't have douches. The old Chinese people in China, there's ladies, they have different things that over the years, as a medical person, we have heard different ways of cleansing the body for a woman because we have different needs. And some women just use their fingers in the shower after they cleanse their hands and make sure there's nothing there. They just use their hands to clean their body inside and out, and that doesn't put any type of the only thing with that is you've got to be very careful with your hands being clean. Some people might want to wear a glove, whatever, and they don't feel comfortable doing that. But when you're talking about infection, you need to be sure that you're very clean in the end time, as best as you can be, because when you get infection, if you don't have access to medication or you don't have access to a doctor and you don't know what to do, you're going to be in trouble. Douches, I don't advise people to do that because they have too much fragrance and stuff in there. If you need one, like if you have to use a medicated one, you can use, get you the iodine kind. The povidone iodine will kill things. Also, you can use, if you know how to dilute down a little bit of a hydrogen peroxide douche you could use if you got an infection that you felt like, you know, it was just bacterial vaginosis or something that came from not having access to be able to take a bath as much as you should. But definitely women are going to have different needs in the end times than men. But if you anticipate some of these needs, you can lessen the problems, and that's what we're trying to do. We're not saying go out and be freaked out and try to, you know, just go out and do all this in one day and yada, yada. No, we know the time is coming, and you get on your knees and say, Lord, am I going to even need any of this? Because not every person's outcome is going to be the same. Some people may die tomorrow in a wreck, and they just don't know it yet. Some people have to die for the Lord. So everybody needs to follow the leading of the Holy Spirit and be wise and say, Lord, can I do this? And how much money do I have? And then go out and each week pick up one thing that you feel like is the most important thing, or as many things as you financially can without stretching yourself so thin that you're stressed out, and just trust the Lord. But start putting things back, even a few things that you might want for your flesh, like freeze-dried coffee or something. You can buy that at Walmart. Now, I buy mine at the health food store, but I know that I'm going to want, occasionally, I'm going to want a little cup of coffee, even if it's not, so I put back a little bit of freeze-dried coffee for me and whoever comes over to visit me and contemplate and pray. But I do believe that we can buy things like there's homeopathic preparations that you can buy that are phenomenal, like that oxycilium. It's a homeopathic preparation for flu-like symptoms, and we use a lot of that at our house because it really does lessen the symptoms. It's natural. It's kind of sweet. It gives you a little comfort, especially like for children. Now, children, you're going to need to be able to have, baby diapers that are, if you don't have baby diapers, you're going to need to be able to have that, and you're going to need to be able to have things when they start eating that is going to be able to nourish their body. So you need to get you some dried fruit that you can put back, that you can actually rehydrate, or you need to get you make you a little dehydrator thing that you can buy fruits and start, dehydrating some of them yourself. Harvest rights are expensive, but you don't have to. You can make your own. There's ways to do your own, but these are things we need to start thinking about, because who are we going to turn to when the stuff hits the fan and there's nobody out there? There's no, let's say everything goes to Hades in a handbasket. We're already pretty much invaded. If a big EMP happened or something, we were attacked, and we didn't have any access for a while and things were upturned, who do we think is responsible for our protection and our food? The government? Forget it. They're not going to do anything. Your neighbor, you going to make them responsible for your behavior? No. We are responsible for our own protection, our own behavior. Now, if God has called you to help people, that's one thing. But we should never just assume, well, I'll just go to my neighbors and take what they've got. That is not being prepared at all, and that is not a godly stance. Into the end time, we need to be prepared for ourselves. Now, it does not mean that we can't pull together, and absolutely, I think we are going to have to, but we are going to have to go into this thing with a different mindset. And Americans are so dependent on the government to pull them out of everything. And so when we're not going to have that, we have to start doing a little bit. Put back some beans, put back some rice, put back some headache medication, put back some ointment for a rash, some, whatever you can get you some natural. Go to the health food store and ask them for natural things for rashes. There's DMSO creams for inflammation that I don't want to go through the end time without. I'm stocking that every time I go to the health food store because it's phenomenal for inflammation and everything. So there are things that you think of that you use every day that you think, man, would I want to live without that? And do I need to put back some of this in case? I'm not saying that we're never going to have it again, and we might not, but I'm saying I do believe there's going to be some times when you're not going to be able to get some things just like we weren't able to get things the last time.